tell us a bit about your background, what it is that you do.
Okay, so I am actually a mother of two. I have in total 7 grandchildren. Both of my children have a blended family. I am a human resource operations manager. I've been in human resources since the very early 2000s. I am very passionate about children's issues, about seniors, about the state of our country, the state of, basically everything that one sees that's happening. I'm also very concerned about our education system and what is happening with that. Education is obviously a big part of the foundation of any community. And so, that is of huge concern to me as well. I don't remember if I mentioned I am a wife as well.
Yep.
I better put that in there just in case my husband is listening. And so I've been married for 36 years to the same person.
Congratulations.
And so that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
And thank you for that. Thank you for that, letting us know. And with all of what you just said, HR professional, big family, seems like you have it all going. So what inspired you to throw your head in the political arena?
Well, Jamel, I'll try to tell you this story very quickly. I had no aspirations to be involved in politics. I actually just have a big mouth and I just don't know when to stop talking. So I was at a party. A friend of mine is a current PLP MP. And then there was also a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, who is with the Bermuda Alliance. And in 2020, the PLP MP friend of mine had a birthday party. And so we were all there, and I'm talking about everything that's wrong with the country, all the things that I think need to be done to fix it. And shortly after that, the OBA friend of mine called me up and said, "Hey, listen, I heard you the other night. Would you have any interest?" My initial reaction was absolutely not. I don't know any sane person that would sign up for this. And so anyway, I said at the end of the conversation, let me talk about it with my husband. Let me think about it. Let me pray about it. And I'll get back to you. At the end of all of that, what my final conclusion was that I need to either put up or shut up. And so that was the tipping point for me to actually say yes. Little did I know that 6 short weeks later, I would be rolled out as a candidate for the Bermuda Alliance. And so I haven't looked back since.
You're running again in C7. Yes. You've likely been canvassing. What are you currently hearing on the doorstep from constituents?
So there are a number of consistent things, I guess, that I've said. Education is a big deal. That comes up frequently in constituency number 7 in particular. There are a number of families that have young children. And so I have been hearing from parents who have decided to take their children out of the public system and move them to private because of the fear of what is actually happening within our education system and how that's going to impact their children. I have also heard quite a bit about the cost of living, which obviously is a very hot topic for everyone here in Bermuda. Having to pay $9 in some cases for a loaf of bread is quite concerning for anyone. And then the third thing is about our infrastructure, our roads, the overgrowth, just the general state of the country. And so that's sort of the national issues. The regional issues would be things like in C7, there's a number of constituents that would like to see the overhead wiring put underground. That is a big deal for them. And if you have a look at some of the wiring, you would certainly understand.
People have reacted very differently to the announcement of Mr. Fay. Why would you tell them to reconsider their vote for the Bermuda Alliance? I mean, obviously, Mr. Fay is just one person, right? But there's people who were on the fence that were literally considering voting OBA, and now they're out. Like, what would you say to get them to reconsider?
What I would get them to say is I'd encourage them to actually listen to and read about Michael's past performance and as it relates to pathways to status, because that's the big issue, right? And so I would encourage them to listen to what he was actually trying to do, um, you know, back when he was trying to do it, and then listen to what the government is purporting to do now, and then let them decide if there are things that are significantly different, or something that was really concerning about what Michael was trying to do when he was the Minister of Home Affairs, right? We need to have more people in the country. We need to be able to to have immigration reform. Everybody knows that. We need to have more people here so that we can spread the the costs and economic burdens and everything that has been spoken about consistently over the last several years. So what I would encourage them to do is actually, as I said, look at the messaging that was the point of what he was making then, and then look at what the current minister, Jason Hayward, has been talking about in terms of immigration, and then make their decisions from there. We try to do what's best for the country. Everybody does. Every political party is their mandate, and what should be their mandate is doing what's best for the country overall. So I would just encourage them to look with an open mind, considering where we were, considering what the present minister is saying, and see if there is something that's significantly different that would warrant sort of dismissing Michael and his candidacy.
Alrighty. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he's asking, Madam Senator, if the OBA is elected as the majority, what are some ways your party would cut costs in the civil service?
Okay, so one of the things that we would first have to do is look at the sort of the structure, right? So one of the things we want to absolutely do is make it more efficient, but we have to look at the structure. We have to look at where things are in terms of promised digitization. We would have to look at sort of organizational structures, things that maybe duplication of services. We want to be able to make things more efficient. So we have to look at all of those things before we can sort of make and take any kind of decisive action.
Are you willing to work with Minister Tanae Furbert and just people on the other side, Curtis Dickinson or Owen Darrell? Like, what does that look like to you as more, not just a One Bermuda Alliance candidate, but just a Bermudian who wants what's best for the island?
Well, I mean, for my person, let me just backtrack. In terms of the first part of your question about coalition governments and all of that, that is above my pay grade. And so that is something that the leadership and whoever that is what the leadership will determine whether they will engage in the strictest of sense of a coalition government in the example that you gave. For me personally, I work with everyone. When we're in the Senate, the PLP senators will tell you that we have really good relationships. I was appointed to the Senate in 2020. And, when I think that the government has done something right, I am the first to put my hand up and say, this good job, and, give them their flowers, right? So for me, collaboration is part of who I am as an individual, and so it comes quite naturally to me. I don't have any issues with any of my political colleagues, no matter what side of the fence they're on.
Let's talk about and you pretty much answered this within how you've conducted yourself since 2020. But if you're unsuccessful at the polls again this time, how do you intend to stay engaged politically and just do the work of Bermuda?
Yeah, well, I was a former hotline counselor, so I with the Women's Resource Center, so I may re-engage in terms of community work and things like that. There is a lot of needs in the country, and so I will certainly have more time to be able to invest in those types of areas. So that is certainly one thing that I would absolutely do. It's re-engage in community service.